Alright, it's January 5th, 2012. Alright, so, I pretty much said it all. I think today I went on the Washington News, one of their pages, of which there's thousands of, news items. But I think it's fairly recent. It's like today's front page of the Washington, D.C. News, and it talks about Romney and all the other presidential candidates and the Iowa thing. Oh, it's boring. I mean, I had to yawn. That's how boring the whole thing is. These candidates are trying to, present themselves as, the three-piece suit, and they look so perfect, and there isn't anything in their background, and the media picks on the Republicans more than it picks on the Democrats, and this is all garbage. I keep telling you people, you just don't want to believe me. You want to continue feeding these people with, what do you do when you go to an election and you're not really voting? It's an electoral college. This presidential candidate doesn't want you to vote. It wants you to overthrow the country now. Don't wait till November. Take your money out of the banks. Stop driving your cars so much. When you have to go get gas, don't fill up your tank. Don't spend hundreds of dollars. Spend $5 at a time. I know it's a hassle. I know you have to stop more often at the gas station, but that uses up electricity. Hell with them. They ask people to, I'll give you a comparative example. They ask people to cut back on water usage in LA. Now, if people had listened to me in the 1980s, the water recycling specially built two-story house would have spread like wildfire, and you would not have droughts in any of these drought areas. I'm not going to go into and explaining it because, you people aren't listening to all these videos anyway. There's more than 100 that have been on there, and the only people that are interested in some of the videos is the Einstein, comparative to Einstein's discovery of E equals mc squared, my claim to contacting this alien being that lives in your water and your dark matter, or the space in between the water molecules. It doesn't matter. You people don't believe it anyway. And even if 10 million people watched it, they're not educated enough to grasp the whole idea. In my water being, one of my videos dealing with titled Water Beings Controlling Us, 89 people viewed it, and one person commented and gave a down's thumb. Hey, Mr. Down's Thumb, guess what? 89 people didn't give an answer one way or the other. They didn't care. But I bet you they went to go investigate what I told them, the 5 websites, and I bet they have enough brains to put it together the same way I put it together, which there's only one conclusion you can draw once you compare Dr. Emoto's website, Jacques Cousteau's experiments with the saltwater tanks, the clam experiments, the 99 monkey philosophy, and Nostradamus looking into a bowl of water to look into the future. What do all those things I just said have to do with being connected to each other? Well, they are. And any common sense individual that really investigates those 5 websites are going to find that entanglement, quantum theory, chaos theory, the theory of everything, string theory, that everything I'm talking about, I'm putting it together in such a way that it will help you understand why the human race has such a bad track record. 7,750 years worth of war, all in bits and pieces all over the planet, versus only less than 300 years of peace worldwide in bits and pieces. I'm not the one that has the problem. If anyone has the problem, it's you people. Because you don't have the chutzpah to get together. You don't have the courage, and I'm talking all the armed forces members that have come home from Afghanistan and seen all the carnage and are going to be having bad dreams for the rest of their lives. You don't have enough chutzpah. You had it there to fire your M16 and blow your bombs and blow terrorists apart and children and men and women innocent to the whole thing. I'm sure you're going to remember all that your whole life. But I could relieve your tension by you going to that website and understanding that this universe is a lot more complex than you realize, and we are just not even a drop in the bucket. We're not even a comparable as compared to the size we are to the size of the mesons inside the atoms that we're composed of. which are smaller than atoms' nucleuses, by the way. That we are smaller than that compared to the whole universe. So why are you, crap or get off the pot? People say to me, get on with your life. No. You get on with your life, because you're not getting on with your life because you're not revolting. You're not doing what really counts. Bring this country down. And if you don't, it's going to get worse and worse. I talked about in one of my other videos that I have the power of mind over matter. That this being that I've made contact with over a number of years has been behind all of the wars, all of the deaths, all of the destruction, because it feeds off of it. And I cryptically warned the government over and over again. I also wrote a 13-page letter, and I ended up pasting it along one side and wrote a giant letter to the White House, 13 feet tall, the same height of the World Trade Center, 13 feet representing 1,300 feet, with 2 added zeros, and told the White House that planes could be used as weapons of destruction. And that was in 1993, right after the first attack. So, and I made a monetary demand at the end of that letter because I had been damaged already, a number of years already, at the local level. And everybody neglected me, didn't pay attention to me. So, fine, go ahead. Run with that. Run with that all you want. Because if it's true that I have the ability to cryptically predict things that are going to happen, then I predicted the World Trade Center event exactly as the way it was going to happen. Doesn't matter whether it was a conspiracy or whatever you want to call it. It happened. And I knew it was going to happen. And I warned everybody ahead of time, and nobody listened. I knew the Waco, Texas incident was going to happen a year before it happened. I knew a lot of stuff, but you people are dumb. You just are going to carry the ball the way you want to carry it. It will end up blowing up in your face. I predicted a lot of things. I predicted fires. I predicted, I could go on with the predictions, and they were all cryptic. And the reason I gave them cryptically and I didn't give them outright was because I liked the way Nostradamus presented his predictions. But I presented my predictions cryptically because that was all of your punishments for violating my life and stealing the young years of my life and making me live on life paths that were not my own. You put me on paths. You took my boat that was on a set course and whacked it out of orbit. You pulled it off of course. And it's your collective society, state, federal, and local, that did this to me. And you do it to other people too. Today I was sitting in a Burger King, and I had a guy walk in there that I recognized from a couple of years ago. Came from the same house that somebody set fire to. And I kind of suspect him now that he may have been one of the people that might have set fire to that house. Anyway, guy comes in and starts yelling at me. And I don't know him from Adam. After 2 years, I don't want to know him. The guy was nothing but a jerk and unappreciative. Him and his girlfriend. He needed a place so bad because he was homeless. Now listen to this. I help people, but nobody helps me. And I charged him only $25 a week to have a roof over his head. Talk about unappreciative. You should have heard the stuff. They almost called the police at the Burger King up here on Sherman Way. And they should have. The guy should be locked up. I never did anything wrong to this guy. I'm sitting there going, get away from me, I don't want to talk to you. And he gets louder and louder. Then he starts complaining and leveling all kinds of accusations. Then leaves the store with all kinds of future terrorist threats about beating people's faces in. This is the kind of person that needs to be stripped nude and thrown on an island somewhere along with all the other criminals so that we can live happily ever after. I believe that living happily ever after is possible. But not with a bunch of creeps and idiots that don't know how to follow the standard common sense rules. I'm not talking about the rules with building and safety and the jerk-offs with the fire department or the police department. And the parking enforcement, they're all jerks. They abuse the color of law and hurt people and throw them into a financial abyss. And nobody will do anything about it. Because the people that are more well off don't have time, don't want to take the time. And the people who are poor can't afford $300 an hour to hire a lousy blood-sucking attorney to fight for them. You're not supposed to have to fight for your rights. They're supposed to be understood already. They're supposed to be set in stone. When you go to the Arlington Cemetery, Washington, D.C., you can see crosses as far as you can see. Civil War, World War I, World War II, the Mexican-American War, I mean, you name it, the Korean War. All those people died because they really were, especially World War II, they really were fighting a criminal element. Adolf Hitler was definitely a criminal element, a nutcase, beyond nutcase, worse, equivalent to Genghis Khan. So, those people died so that we were supposed to have a better life. And instead of making a better life, you've got a ruling Congress, a ruling Senate, a ruling president, a ruling Bilderberg Group, a ruling International Monetary Fund, a ruling bunch of jerks and asinine people who have this control freak fanaticism to want to control your life. And the only way you can bring them down to their knees is take their money away. I'm telling you, you take your money out of the banks. Besides, you're poor. You're not going to be able to get rich keeping your money in the bank. Even if you have a couple of $1,000s and you have it in a CD, whoop-de-doo, you'll get a few, what, $50 or $60 after a couple of years. No. These people are nuts. They need to be taught a lesson forever. And this is your year to do it. 2012. Revolt. Revolt against the evil. Revolt against them because they're the evil ones. Oh, they wear three-piece suits and they look nice and all this kind of garbage. They're garbage. That person that walked in that Burger King, that's true garbage. The person upset everybody. There was even a newborn baby in there, and I really wanted to get up and the only thing that stopped me from really just waylaying on this guy was this lady across from me who said, no, don't say anything. Don't say anything. So I took her advice. I said, all right. And I had to take it, listening to that jerk, until finally he wasn't even asked to leave by the managers because they were afraid of him. The guy's a nutcase. So anyway, but the person finally left. But here I am trying to tell you people that when you have a gift horse, you don't whip it into submission. You don't take their property. You don't take their cars, their boats, their motorhomes. I mean, I was almost on the verge of tears today before that guy walked in. Very depressed about all the stuff that's been done to me and all the stuff that I've lost, and I just can't forget about it. I think I'd have to be hypnotized to forget about it. I can't. Because in forgetting about it, and I know it's doing me harm, and I don't care. I don't care if I die. Because you people made me this way. Your society, your collective society that you contribute to, every time you pay taxes, every time you don't revolt. Oh, you'll revolt with the 99%ers who went there and sat on the stupid lawn in City Hall all over the country, like that was going to change anything. It was like a wannabe hippie rehash of the hippie era. And people showed up with guitars and music, and it was all stupid. These candidates are stupid. They are an insult to if you have any intelligence, real intelligence, they're an insult to your intelligence. Instead of you going to those websites and connecting the dots like I have, what if this being really is trying to help us? Well, none of us will ever know. But I can tell you one thing. I knew about all these disasters way ahead of time, and I know about the next one that's coming, and it's worse. Really, really bad. But you know what? I sent my presidential application in, and I put there's a picture of the Washington Monument on that application. And I know whenever I do something, it's for a reason. It's because I'm predicting something. And sure enough, there was an earthquake in D.C., and the Washington Monument cracked. That wasn't enough of a signal. The president, all the scientific people that work for the president, they're going to tell, oh, this guy's trying to connect that and say that he was involved, that he had something to do with that earthquake. Maybe I did. After all, if you people don't go to those 5 websites, you're the idiots, not me. You're the ones that would make the same logical conclusion. Remember the 99th monkey philosophy. If enough of you connect those same dots, it becomes a firestorm. A firestorm of information that will overtake this country like you would not believe. But you don't want to do that. So fine. Go ahead. Keep going the way you're going. You're going to find out soon. All the electronics, like the day the earth stood still, they're all going to go dead. Hey, you want it to really happen? It will.